Hands-On is sponsored in part by
Elmer's Products Incorporated, manufacturers of a variety of adhesives, arts and crafts, and office products for use at home, school, or business for over 60 years. Elmers.com. Fluorocraft, the Dow Chemical Company, styrofoam brand foam. Make it fun. Fluorocraft.com. Styrofoamcrafts.com.
Travel around the world on this season of Hands-On Crafts for Kids. We're visiting a different country each episode and learning about their culture and traditions through crafts. Every project has 5 steps and 5 main ingredients, plus you'll want to keep basic supplies like scissors and markers and toothpicks and even a ruler on hand. Remember, be creative. It's fine to change colors or patterns to make your project your own. So let's learn about different countries with fun craft ideas. Today we visit the Far East. China is located in Eastern Asia and has the largest population of any country in the world with over 1 billion people. We visit China for beautiful symbols of the Chinese New Year and traditional Chinese designs. Our first project is a Ming design vase with a surprise source of paper. Then it's time to learn about the art of paper cutting, Chinese style. Then it's a New Year's celebration with 2 different dragon projects. The first is a paper mask and the second is a dragon dance stick. So let's get started. Our first project is a Ming vase. Ming china is often blue and white and originated during the Ming Dynasty. A bamboo pattern is a traditional design. Here's what you'll need. This is a totally recycled project. We've used an old jar, some tissue paper from a gift, some old security envelopes with blue printing inside, and then our tools. We have glue, a hole punch, scissors, a brush, and a pencil. So let's get started. The first thing is that you want to find some interesting pattern design paper from old envelopes. You can see here, these are all old security envelopes that we got bills in. They all have a blue and white pattern. Then on our website, you'll see the pattern for the design that we did, which includes a flower, a scallop at the bottom, and little designs for bamboo. I've cut each of those out on some white paper, and then I'm going to use those to trace on my envelopes. So let's trace a leaf here. And I want to mix the different patterns. So let's do a piece of bamboo here. I'm going to just line it up right on the edge. And then the third one, let's do a flower on this one, or a scallop. Let's do a scallop. And you'd cut out all the pieces that you want. Now, once you've got all the pieces cut out, we're going to set those aside. The last one that you would do is your flower, and I'm going to take my hole punch, and I'm going to slide that in, and I'm going to punch a hole on each of the petals. You can do whatever is easiest for you. You might want to cut these out or use a punch. And then I'm going to go back in with a sharp scissor and cut sections out so that I have a design. Make sure you can see that. And the last one. Okay, now we have all of our designs ready to go on. The next thing we want to do is to cover our jar. As I said, I'm using old tissue paper that I've torn into pieces, so it doesn't matter if it's wrinkled or old. Let's take a clean one. I've got my glue and I've mixed it 2 parts glue and 1 part water just to make it a little more watery. I'm going to cover the entire surface of the jar working in sections. If I just dip my brush right back onto the tissue paper, it'll stick, and then I can easily adhere it to the glass. Then let's put some more. Don't worry if it overlaps, because that'll give it a mottled effect and give it a little bit more of that kind of pottery look. And I'll continue on. And you can see here I've got 2 pieces. That's not a problem. I'll just pull one across, and it'll have varying shades then of the white. You want to go all the way up over to the top. Let's put a little bit more glue up there. Hold that down, and then extend it over the lip. As you can see, that really looks pretty, and it gets that pottery look very, very quickly. Then you can set that aside to dry, and I've got one that's totally completed. Now I want to start putting my design on. And this time I'm going to put my glue on the back of the piece, or I can put it right here. It doesn't really matter because it is going to dry clear. So let's pick up a blue scallop. Let's put that on the design. Let's put some on the bottom here. And again, I want to go over the top of this, because then it's going to look like it's a part of the background. Remember, it'll all dry clear. Let's put a flower up here. And at home, you're going to take your time to add your designs, decide where you want to put them. But you can see how beautiful those patterns are, and they're all just from the inside of envelopes. Okay, let's add a bamboo stalk here. Oops, let's pick that one up. Use my glue to pick it up. And if you don't want it to move, just dab your brush a little bit. And another little bamboo section. Oops, that one's a white one. Let's do a blue. And let's put some leaves on our bamboo. And you will continue on creating your design as much or as little as you'd like until you get something that you like. When you're all done with your design, then you're going to take another little bit of glue and you want to go over your entire design one more time, because that's what's going to give it that nice glossy finish. So let's see what else we need to add here. Let's add one more leaf on this side. And there you can have your design. Now let's take a look at the finished one. You can see how I brought the design all the way up onto the lip of the jar. This is a totally recycled project. Chinese paper cutting is an ancient art very much like paper snowflakes. It's traditionally cut from red paper with very short scissors. Common patterns are the crescent, arc, and sawtooth. The cuttings are used to decorate doors, windows, mirrors, lanterns, and gifts. They can also be used for patterns for embroidery and lacquer and are meant to bring good luck. For our project, you'll need a red paper napkin, a sheet of typing paper or from a printer paper, and a paper bag. And on our tools, we've got some short scissors, very sharp scissors. We've got clear glue gel, and then we also have a repositionable glue stick and a pencil. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to take our napkin and fold it in half. You want to be very careful so that this folded edge meets this folded edge and that you have a full fold in the center. Then on our website we provide this pattern, which is a small corner that's going to lay right out on the square napkin. Now what I've done is just taken a tiny bit of the repositionable glue on just the very edges of my design to keep it down. You could also trace it with a pencil and remove it. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start cutting my design. Just like in any cutting, you want to move the paper, not the scissors. So I'm going to cut down, cut into the curve. You want to be careful and really take your time while we're cutting. I'm going to cut each one of these out. Now you could draw your own design or use the pattern that we provide. You're going to want to try all different ways to do it. Just like snowflakes, no two will be alike. So I'm cutting the center sections out first, and then I'm going to go back in and cut all around the edge. Now I've got one that's all cut out. Now this is going to be very fragile. I'm going to open this up and lay it out on a piece of paper. Take your time when you're doing it so you don't tear it, because it's such an intricate design. And one more open fold. Then our last step is we're going to take the paper bag or whatever we'd like to attach this to, and we're going to add the glue to the bag first. Now it's important that you lay this out on this tissue paper because we're going to actually slide it onto the bag. I'm going to take my bag and brush my glue here, and I'm going to brush it over the center. And don't worry if you've got a little bit of extra glue on the surface. And then I'm going to take this, oops, and I'm going to actually slide it on, just right off the paper onto this, and then smooth it down into place. Very carefully I'll position it and then let it dry without moving it around. Now on the finished piece you can see how beautiful it looks, but remember you can do a simpler design to start out with, or you might want to try it with construction paper first before you tackle a napkin. Our next project is a dragon mask. When the first new moon enters the sign of Aquarius, farmers and merchants in China perform dragon and lion dances to usher in the new year. Here's what you'll need. We have all different colors of construction paper, assorted gemstones and sequins, glitter glue in different colors, some stretch cord, also a glue stick, and some thick or tacky glue. And the tools you'll need are a hole punch, pencil, and some scissors. So let's get started. The first thing is that there is a pattern on the website that will give you your entire pattern piece. It will look like this, and it's half of the dragon's face. Then there are also each of these little pieces. What you need to do is trace each one of these and then cut them out on another piece of paper, or make a second copy of this so you can cut out these pieces. But don't feel like you have to use it exactly as we show it. You might want to do your own design. We're going to lay our half of the face down on our paper, then take our pencil and trace around. And I'm going to just trace just that little section, then flip the face, match up the two pieces, and then continue around until you've drawn the entire face out. And I have a sample here where I've drawn it all out. I've also marked where the eyes should go and where the mouth should go. Now I've got my dragon, and the next step is to cut this dragon out. So when you're cutting, cut straight into the curve, then turn the paper, not your scissors, and it'll make it easier to cut. And you'll continue all the way around. And when you want to cut the circles out, the easiest way is to take your scissors, poke a little hole, and then cut to the edge. And it'll make it easier to cut those shapes out. You continue cutting until that is all cut out, and I have one here. Now it's time to make the rest of your decorations for your mask. As I said, there were all these different pattern pieces. So I've laid out the two teeth patterns on white paper. I've laid out other of the crowns and the eyebrows on orange. I've laid these three pieces on blue, but you can choose whatever colors you'd like and in whatever designs you'd like. So I'm going to cut this red one out. Same way, we're moving the paper, not the scissors. And we continue cutting on until we have all of our pattern pieces cut. Now, if you see on the finished project, a lot of the pieces are layered in two different colors. And the way we do that is to lay our piece that we've cut out on another piece of paper. So let me find one here. Let's go down to the bottom. And I've got my red pieces. Oh, here's one. And I have this orange, and I'd like it on top of that. So I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm going to put the glue on the back of the piece. I'm going to lay this down on my wax paper so I get a nice thick coat on it, and lay that down on the color pattern that I want underneath it. Same thing with this purple decoration. Then what I can do is go back in and cut around, leaving a little bit of a border, and that way I end up with two colors without cutting an extra piece out. So if you can see here, I've got the two teardrops, the mouth, the eyes. So let's start assembling our dragon. I'll move these all out of the way. Okay, the first thing we want to do is let's put our centerpiece here. Again, I'm going to be using a glue stick on all of these because paper to paper, glue sticks work great for paper to paper. Put that one on. Let's place some of our pieces where they go here. These are on the side cheeks and eyebrows. Another eyebrow. Let's see, put this here by the nose. And let's see where the curly cues will go down to the bottom. But remember, do them, you can follow our design or choose to do your own design. Once you have all of the pieces down, then you can go back and glue all of those in place and make sure they're nice and secure. Let me pull this one aside. Now I've got another one here where I've glued most of the pieces, but now I want to come back in and do some of the designs. I'm going to take my glitter glue, and I think I'm going to take red on this one. Squeeze my glitter glue a little. I have wax paper here, make sure it's up to the tip, starting at the curve, and add some designs. Now we can add the curls just on the marks here. You may want to add dots here. See where else we might. Let's add some designs and some beads. We'll add a big circle, and you can use this just like glue to adhere. If you didn't want the glitter glue to show, then we could go to just a thick tacky glue. Let's see what else. Let's add a sparkle on this one. And you'll continue decorating until you have exactly what you'd like on your mask. Then your final step is to take your hole punch a hole at either end, and then take a length of the stretch cord so that you can stretch it and actually wear it as a mask. Now if you take a look at the finished mask, you can see all of the designs on. Also, I have here a second mask that's done out of foam instead of out of paper. We just created a mask, and now we're adding the dance stick to help you in your celebration of Chinese New Year. The importance of the dragon dates back to the Han Dynasty. It symbolizes power and courage. Here's what you'll need. We have different colors of tissue paper. We have a dowel, a sheet of foam, some wiggly eyes, glitter pom-poms and glitter stems, and then we have different sizes of styrofoam. On our finished model, we used an egg, or you can use a round. We've got a smaller size round and then tiny balls for the cheeks. All of the dimensions on those will be on the site. We also have some glue and then our basic tools, scissors, toothpicks, a plastic knife, a pencil, and a marker. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is to create our head. So I'm going to cut out the mouth section. I'm going to use a plastic knife and go about a little bit less than halfway down. And what I'm doing is cutting out a section from the center, and that's going to be used for the ears, but it also gives me the mouth. I continue cut until it's kind of cutting at an angle so that it all pops out. Just use that simple sawing motion and that'll help it pop. Let's see if we got that. There you go, and there's his mouth. Now if we have any rough edges, you can take this extra piece and just kind of smooth that down. Now this piece then is cut in half. Oops. And we're going to form it into his ears. And all we need to do is pinch it, and the styrofoam will bend into shape. Now, while we're adding these on, we're going to glue those on, but to secure them, I'm going to use a toothpick just until the glue dries. So let's add his ears. Let's put a little bit of glue up at the top. Oops, I didn't open that. Stick the toothpick in, and then stick here. That's one. Oops, I missed that. one ear, and then the second ear is going to go here. Okay, now we have his ears. The next thing we want to do is to create the nose. And to make the nose, I'm going to take my small 1-inch balls and I'm going to flatten those out. I'm going to add glue here. And again, I'll add a toothpick in if we need to hold it and keep it secure. Same thing, let's add the toothpick first this time. Smash this down. See how easy that smooths down? Then the only other thing we can do is add some cheeks, and to do that, we can cut this other ball in half and use those to create cheeks. Oops. And we put those here and here. Then when I'm done with that, I'm going to stick this on the stick because then I'm ready for the next step. Set that aside. I've got one here finished that I've got it all glued. Now I've taken my tissue paper and I've just torn it into little pieces. Then in my bowl here, I've added some white glue. It's 2 parts glue to 1 part water, but don't worry, even if you used it full strength, you'll be fine. And I'm going to start putting my tissue paper on. We've done this technique before, and it's an easy way to cover your styrofoam and get some nice colors. I'm using different combinations. I'm going to use some yellow, orange. We want a kind of variegated effect to him. And I'll continue going and covering the whole dragon, but then inside the mouth, I'm going to use red. So let's add some more glue so you can get an idea of what he's starting to look like. This will take you a little bit of time to get everything exactly the way you want it. Let me hold that up so you can see. So his mouth is inside. And I'll continue adding, let's go with our yellow color first. And just overlapping our tissue paper. Remember, it's okay if it wrinkles or if it rips because we can keep adding more tissue on top. Now, once we've covered the entire surface, we're going to let him dry, put him aside, and he's going to look like this. You can see there's red here, and you see how nice and shiny it dries? And then I put a red stripe down his forehead. Then we want to add his wiggly eyes. So let's add his eyes here. And then we're also going to add teeth. To make the teeth, I've taken the white foam and cut it into just some little triangles. Just dip it into my glue mixture, or I can use full strength glue, and slide that on right there. You might have to hold that in place till it dries. And I'd go teeth all the way along and all along the bottom. Now let's create his hair. To create his hair, I've taken a chenille stem, taken my scissors, and trimmed it in half. Then I'm going to dip it in the glue and put it onto the pom-poms. Let's let those sit here and dry. I've got some that I've already created. Let me turn him this way so you can see. Now I'm going to start sticking these in for his hair. Now it's going to be a little hard because the tissue paper dries to a really hard surface. So I'm going to take my toothpick and poke a hole so that I have an easier time of putting my chenille stem in. Oops. There we go. And then let's make another hole here so you can see that one. And you can create whatever hairstyle you want, as many as you'd like for his mane. Let's push that one in just a little bit farther. And go all the way along the back. I put about 7 or 8 on the back. Then the next thing that I want to do is also create the streamers. So I've cut more of the tissue paper, and I can bunch that up around and attach it with some glue or another little bit of a chenille stem. Then the final step is to create his tongue. So I'm going to take a pencil, twirl it around, or I could twirl it around my dowel, slide that all the way down. And I'll do 2 of those. And the same way, I'll add some glue and glue that inside his mouth. You might want to also poke it in with a little bit of a pencil or the toothpick just to make sure it's secure. So let's take a look at our finished dragon. And that's our program on China. Next time we head to Russia, so get out your winter coat and gloves as Hands-On travels north.
Projects and ideas from today's show, plus hundreds of other kids' craft projects, are available on the web at craftsforkids.com. This is Program 1307. A DVD set of all 13 episodes of Hands-On Crafts for Kids, Crafts Around the World, Series 1300, is available for $49.99 plus $6 shipping and handling. Visit craftsforkids.com to order. Travel to distant lands with Hands-On.
Hands-On is sponsored in part by
Elmer's Products Incorporated, manufacturers of a variety of adhesives, arts and crafts, and office products for use at home, school, or business for over 60 years. Elmers.com. Fluorocraft, the Dow Chemical Company, styrofoam brand foam. Make it fun. Fluorocraft.com. Styrofoamcrafts.com.